deep breath and remember who you are. Yeah, they're gonna mess with you, baby, you're a star. Stepping in the spotlight, you know that it feels like time to put up a fight, honey. Got nothing left to lose, so let's start right now. Everybody want a piece of you. Gotta give them what they want, it's true. You're symphonic, yeah, so iconic. If you didn't know before, now you know. Now you know. Take a big step away from who you were. Flashing that smile and the whole world's a blur. Dancing
Positively powerful. Take a big step away from who you were. I love that line in that song. Stacey Steinmiller is joining me today. What's up, Stace?
Hello. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday.
Let me do my. Oops, that's nice. Hey,
Green.
I'm green.
You're
My green
green.
screen. Oh, look, now I got all kind. So, just to give you a little, little explanation as to why my whole world is falling apart right now. I just, I lease my main system. So I was leasing a Mac M1 Ultra and just am sending it back, and I just got a new system, which is an M4 Max, which is really cool. And I just swapped it over yesterday. And so I'm still discovering things that have since reset when I moved over to a new system. And it all seems to like show up at the very last minute where it's like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way. So a little peek behind the curtain. Pay no attention. So we're no longer in that retrograde crap. And I saw that you
You see my comment?
I just saw
It's
it and I didn't
long.
have a chance
Sorry.
I didn't have a chance to read it. Maybe you'd like, one of the things that we've been talking about throughout the course of this live stream has been like every time there's like some major debacle or something, everyone always kind of pipes up and says, oh, well, Mercury's in retrograde. And I'm always like, what does that mean? And then I just saw that that Mercury just fell out of retrograde or was no longer in retrograde.
Went
What would
direct.
Went
Direct.
went direct?
Direct. Yeah, it is.
Direct,
Yeah.
is that the term?
That's what you say
All
when it, yeah. And then it'll move
All right.
forward.
So help me with my astronomy / astrology.
Well, it's mostly astrology.
Astrology,
the
yeah.
astronomy is just how it appears, right?
Okay.
That it appears that it's going backwards because of where, Mercury and the Earth are in their orbit. Since Mercury goes around in 88 days, and it,
Oh, so that's what
anyways.
it means. It appears that it's going backwards.
Yeah. So in the sky, if you're just watching the sky, it's like moving forward, and then all of a sudden it seems to like stand still, and then looks like it's moving backwards. But it's just where it is in the orbit around the sun and where we are. So it's like it's like an optical illusion.
So it's like we're hearkening back to the days when people had no excuse for no scientific explanation for these things that completely blew their minds. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then they created meaning around that, right? Like what's going on. And so astrologically, the meaning is time of going inward, reflection, and things like that. So like going in versus when you're in forward motion, then you're more outward directed, moving forward and so forth. So that was the interpretation that they made from what the planets were doing in the sky.
I see. Now I finally understand what that's all about.
Well, yeah, because you do hear it online everywhere, and you're like, what is everybody talking about?
And it seems like it was happening forever. It was only 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks.
It's about 3 weeks every 3 months.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just I felt like it was like 6 months long. Everyone's like, well, Mercury's in retrograde. I'm like, is it ever not in retrograde? Anyway, yeah, that's definitely outside of my realm of knowledge, which is pretty much just about everything that we talk about on this live stream is outside of my realm of knowledge. But that's what you're here for, to help me to understand
What the
under,
world is talking about.
understand this experience we call human life.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one.
So it's pretty interesting how quickly things can turn around when something kind of clicks.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that for me that kind of happened where I was in this really bad place, and you kept telling me like what I had to do, and I didn't understand what I had to do, and not realizing that I was actually doing it. And then suddenly it was just like bing, and you know, literally the heavens opened up and
yeah. And gave you
yeah, manna from heaven.
Yeah.
And it also was an interesting thing that it made my my gratitude go absolutely through the roof, like more than I think I've ever had that kind of gratitude. And I think when you get to a next level of your understanding of your gratitude, I think it's like, I don't know, it's like going up a ladder, and sometimes it takes you a long time to get to this next rung. Yeah. And then when you finally get to that next rung, you only think it's one rung, and then you realize it's like four rungs.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this was a huge step. I didn't understand that, you know. So like that, just, I figured because we have to take a week off next week, and I figured we'd kind of bring everything around and talk about gratitude and the power of gratitude, and how easy it is to forget to be grateful, especially in the midst of you know, mayhem and bad things happening, and bad things happening to people that you care about and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's just so easy to go to just, you know, get into that dark place and stay there.
Yeah. That's so cool that that's what you wanted to talk about, because when I was laying in bed this morning, I was thinking about gratitude. So we
Look
were
at that.
on the same wavelength. I love that.
That is amazing.
Yeah, because when I know my mind, and I think like most people's minds, is we focus on the problem. We focus on what we don't have, or what we want, or what we feel like we need. And it's very easy to just focus on that instead of allowing the gratitude for all that we do have and all that is. And that shift is, you know, so important to just kind of coming back of like, how would I feel if instead of focusing on this one little thing that I'm not getting that I want and focus on everything I do have and all the great stuff that is happening, like, how would I show up differently? How would I feel different? You know? And it's a big shift.
It is. It's huge. And that is so hard to stay. I mean, sometimes it's really easy. You know, obviously, when things are going well, it's so easy. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm grateful for today. It's a great day. Everything's going exactly the way I wanted to. Hoorah. But then other times, you know, everything is going wrong seemingly. And I had to take multiple moments to stop and interrupt my direction in the day, and say, all right, hold on a second. And this is something that you taught me, and that's just the self-awareness of my inner story, you know, my energy, all that stuff. Like, all right, where am I? What's going on right now inside me? All right, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Well, because I don't have this, or because I saw this and that pissed me off. All right, so what good is that doing me right now? How is that helping me? It's not
Yeah.
helping me. What helps me when I'm in a good mood? How do I get in a good mood? Think about the good things that we have. Think about like, oh, I'm getting a new computer and it's going to be awesome. We may have some problems when we do the transition, but it's still going to be awesome. It's like, this is fantastic. And focus on even really small things.
Yeah.
Like that would be kind of not even a blip on the radar. You could be like, wow, I can't believe how I'm like, this couch is just so comfortable. you just like silly little things like that, but it can totally shift you in your energy in that moment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I like how you brought up basically bringing yourself into a state of joy, and how helpful that is of when you recognize you're not embodying that. And then you're like, okay, well, what will help me shift into this state? And one thing I've learned with this work is that becomes my top priority now.
Mm,
Like before, it would be like, well, I'm going to focus on stuff I got to do for work or these tasks or these like anything else, right?
yeah.
Um, and now it's like my first task is to shift my energy and move into joy. And that's been like a huge shift, like a complete 180 of how I used to live my life. But it still takes more of that conscious effort, or conscious focus. I don't know if I want
Yeah.
to use the word effort, but to
And
do
then
that.
taking that to a different level, I guess you could say, because what I would get into is I would start um thinking about like things I had, or focusing on material items that I was
Mhm.
grateful for, and that's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a really big trap, because you start identifying with material goods as
Yeah.
a source of happiness and joy, and
Yep.
that's the wrong
It's
way to
not
go.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so like I would find myself doing that, and I'd be like, no, I need to, I sat there for one day meditating on for about 5 minutes on my daughter's laugh when she was little,
Mm.
when she was like 2 years old, and she had this
Mm.
little teeny tiny voice, and it was like when I was a stay at home dad, and it was just her and I, because the other two older ones were in like half day, or no, I think it was full day. It was like, I think it was only half day kindergarten, because we didn't have a whole lot of time together, just the two of us. And I was just focusing on those moments, and that was the amount of joy that I felt thinking for that 5 minutes was so much more powerful than
Mhm.
the amount of joy I was thinking about, about my new bike, or something like that.
Right. Yep.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's
like,
it's a shift.
yeah, so I'm trying to come up with a question that's based around that. Um, but like, I don't know, just like the difference in power. What is it okay? I mean, would you say it's okay to start, like, if you're having trouble finding gratitude and focusing on gratitude, is it okay to start with the material items and then work your way to those other things, or is that a total trap? I'm just trying to
Yeah,
think of,
this is a
because
good
a
question.
lot of people
Yeah.
have to do it in stages. You can't just jump right into joy,
Right.
you know?
Right. But I think that was the reason why I used to not like gratitude practice, because it was basically that's what people would suggest you do. Like they kind of taught it that way of like, I'm grateful for this microphone. I don't know, like just weird stuff. And it never felt in resonance with me. And I don't think I really understood why at the time. But I don't think I'd recommend doing that. I would recommend doing what you did, of you were going into a feeling state, right? So you're actually like activating your heart chakra. You're like waking that up. And that's what's actually going to raise your vibration is coming into your heart space. And that's like what you were doing when you focused on that, on the laughter, because that brought joy. So I guess if you were to use an external, it's less about the thing and more about the energy that's activated in you, in your relationship to the thing.
Ah,
So if that thing helps to support and activate that joy and opens your heart, like then that's the feeling state to allow to penetrate you and move through you and be in. And that's where the actual shifts happen versus I'm grateful I have a house and a car, and right, like
right.
that, it's not activating any emotion in me. But it might be more helpful to step into like I have freedom to go anywhere at any time when I please, right? So that's, so instead of saying I grateful for my car, you can maybe might be helpful to know, well, what does the car do for me? Well,
Right.
it helps, me feel free, and now I'm going to move into this state of feeling free, right?
Right. Instead of feeling grateful for my bike, I feel grateful for the feeling that I get when I'm riding my bike on a
Riding the
sunny
bike,
day,
yes.
and
Yes. Yes.
next to a big field and I see the deer and stuff
Right.
and
Right. So
something.
that's what's actually going to shift that energy versus for most of us, if you just say, I'm grateful for my bike, it's like not enough to really do anything. And then that's when people are like, well, I did my gratitude list today and I wrote 10 things I'm grateful for, but I still feel like shit,
Yeah.
because they didn't go into the feeling state.
And the other kind of part to that, if we're to loop in the manifestation side of things, because that's in a lot of philosophies that's kind of connected, right? You when you
Hmm.
focus on the gratitude and stay in that
Hmm.
that state of gratitude, and then think about the things that you want and that kind of thing. So like I feel like that's a tricky thing to try to manifest physical goods, physical things, or like money or a
Yep.
car or whatever,
Yep.
and trying to, you know what I mean? Like how do you navigate that by not, so you
Yeah.
almost like, one way that I've heard is like almost like tricking yourself. Like you think about the joy that, playing with your kids brings you, and then you immediately think about, like, you try to identify that same joy with owning that car.
Yeah. I mean,
Do
some
you know what I
people
mean?
do
Have you
stuff
heard
like
that
that.
before?
Yeah, and I think yeah, it's like you want to pair, like if you Joe Dispenza, he talks about elevated emotion, right? So you're like getting into the elevated emotion, and you can kind of pair that
Yeah.
with the desired reality. I don't really do that personally. And I like the idea of I like to fall on the belief of ask and it has already been given, ask and it's been given. So just knowing that my asking for that it has already, it's been answered. So therefore, since it's been answered, I can be in the joy of that it's been answered, and now I don't have to worry about it. And now I can move from that place of joy of knowing that it's happening simply because of my asking.
Yeah.
Um,
And I like the way you put it, quite a few times, where it's like it's already been given to you. It's already
mhm,
yours.
mhm.
You have to align yourself to accept it. Like there's
Yeah,
something that
to
really,
receive.
yeah, that really resonates with me, to think like, oh, that's already mine.
Yes.
Like it's already
Yes.
coming to me.
Yes.
I just have to find the right path for it to find its way
I have
here.
to allow it. Yeah, allow it to drop in. Yeah, and that's also knowing that all that is already yours. it's already yours. And so, and if something doesn't come, and it was never yours to begin with, right? Um, so kind of when you really trust those beliefs, I find that to be a lot stronger than trying to like manipulate and do some like classical conditioning on your brain. But yeah, I use an example, and I used this with a client yesterday on a call, is I have office space available for I rent office space. And before in the past, I would sometimes have trouble. I've gone back and forth. Sometimes it's really easy to rent, sometimes it's harder to rent. And it's like, what's the difference, Stace, of when it's easy or hard? And most people give you like, well, it's the market, it's this or that, and all this stuff. And I truly don't believe that, because if you look, it's always been me and my energy that make it easier or hard to rent the space.
Right.
And it comes down to my belief, my value, and all those things. So it's like, if I believe I have something amazing to offer and a lot of value, and I'm excited for it, and because it's so amazing, of course it's going to be rented, and because I know I'm supposed to be doing this, of course it's going to be fine. Then I rent them like this, like boop, boop, boop. But if I'm like, oh, nobody's going to want this because of this or that, or I don't, I'm not really right, and I go into a negative place, then I have a difficult time renting. It's always just been based off my energy. There's nothing different about it other than me and my belief.
How would you approach a situation to where you, and we'll use the space renting example, where there's something about it that bugs you that you think might be one of the reasons that other people might not want to use it.
Yeah.
Like, how would you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I have struggled with that, right? And so yeah, the mind can always come up with reasons for both. And so yeah, if we're in that negative mood, we're going to have all the reasons as to why someone doesn't want it. But it's really kind of coming into all the reasons that maybe like I love about the office rental space. So some of the negatives could be, well, it's down a really long hallway. It's best to park across the street. Like it's about 1,000 steps probably from your car to the office. It's, whatever. So those might be like negatives of the space. But when I was like, well, Stacey, why did I pick this space? Well, I like that just going to my office and back means I get 2,000 steps in a day just from that alone, right?
Yeah.
Like that's healthy. I love the long walk down the hallway because it's filled with beautiful artwork. It doesn't feel like you're going to a doctor's office. I hate feeling like I'm going to a doctor's office, especially if it's for like massage or therapy or the things that people rent my space for. So I think coming back into your own desire and what you love, right? Because I picked this stuff for a reason, right? And coming back to that joy that allowed it to light up from the beginning, I think is really helpful. And I did do renovations on the space. I put in luxury vinyl tile on, over the carpet, like I did a bunch of stuff too to help make it a little bit better. But is it perfect? No, of course it's not perfect. But so it's really about coming back into my love for the space. Like that's my baby. That's something I poured my heart into, right?
Yeah. And when if you look at something and you say, what, this could use improvements, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. You can spin it in a way that makes it, now when I'm going to do this, and even more people are going to want this space because of that.
Yeah, or even like it's enough now and it's great now because of the energy and love I have poured into it. And if I want to keep pouring love and energy into it, it's because I want to, right? Like we would in to some anything that we love, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if you have a plant and you want it to survive and you want to care for it, you water it, you put it in the sun, you do the natural things for it. So I think it's also simplifying. It's not that it's not good enough. It's just I'm just going to keep loving it, and as you know, and then it's going to have the vibration of that love in it, and the people that are meant for that will be attracted to it, you know.
And it might not be obvious to some people. Maybe it is, but that whole idea of love, of, pouring love, like you don't, it's not something you initially necessarily would think of. Like I poured a lot of love into this room. Like
Mhm.
I guess, some people might say that, like specifically like designers or something like that,
Yes.
or um but I didn't really make that connection until just now, where it's like, yeah, the more love that you put into anything that you're doing, and you recognize that, and you put that
Yes.
out into the universe, that's just keeping that energy right where it needs to be.
Yes. And yeah, and then you're honoring the value. So of course it's going to rent or whatever, you know, of course it's going to sell, like whatever the space is. Um because you're honoring the value that you put into it. And so when we don't honor that, um you know, we're that's where we start doubting and criticizing and feeling like I need something outside of it to make it better, you know, and then you get caught in this whole trap.
I like that. Honor the value. It's something that I think we should all pay more attention to. Honoring our own value,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
just on a daily basis, whether it's at work, whether it's at, with your family,
Yep.
whatever. Um, yeah, I mean, there's been so many transformative conversations that I've had since I started working with you, and it's really starting to filter its way into my family life, into my personal life.
Mm. Mhm.
Just with how I perceive issues and problems, and
Yeah.
what people need. It's like a situation where something was happening with someone. I don't want to get into any specifics, but it was like, no, right now what he needs support. He
Mhm.
needs someone to speak to him. He needs maybe some therapy or some kind of counseling. He doesn't need to
Mhm.
be belittled or shouted at,
Mhm.
or told that he's bad because of this or that. It's like just responding with love,
Yeah.
even if when it's really hard, and the person does
Hard, yes.
something, the person does something to hurt you, and maybe it's not
Yeah.
intentional hurt, but it's something that is clearly, there's something going on with them, and you're like, I'm going to respond with love by saying, you know what, I think you need to do this. I think you need to talk somebody. I think, talk to
Yeah.
somebody, or whatever. Um, that
Yeah.
this whole journey that I'm on, um, has really just, it's been amazing, and it continues to be amazing every single day, and like I said, all the time, I go back and forth. Like sometimes I'm like, "Ugh," uh, but I'm getting better at recognizing those times, and trying to, and being able to turn it around.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You move through it faster. You know, we're always going to be tested. We're not going to be happy all the time. But I think that's what I love the most is when I'm in a temper tantrum, I know I'm in a temper tantrum and I know I can move out of the temper tantrum and I know what I can do to do that. And so therefore it doesn't last very long. Does it not mean I don't have temper tantrums? No, I still have temper tantrums. Um, but I'm also not dragging so many other people into my drama and my issues because of it. And you know, I've have reflected a lot on my struggles in my life and how, because of my inability to truly take responsibility for all that is mine, I have caused a lot of hurt and suffering unintentionally on other people because I saw my problems as so big and so, unsolvable and so crisis that when they're not. They're not. And so like always having that awareness is really helpful. So it's not only helpful for you, but like you said, it makes it easier for everybody else in your life, and therefore you're improving all their life as well. And then when you can discern it in you, yes, you can pick it out in other people, and not to get caught up into their temper tantrum either, and you can just see it and know it and not make it worse.
Right. And that the word crisis just it jumped out at me right then and there, because it's kind of funny, because I think about what my definition of crisis is and what it was, and it's
right.
definitely
Changed.
changing. It's evolving, which I think would in and of itself is something to be grateful for.
Yes.
Because man, oh man, I mean, some of the most ridiculous things I'd be like, "Well, it's a crisis." It's like, no, it's not. It's not even close to a crisis.
Right. Like it's not actually, nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, but we just put so much pressure on ourselves. And I think that's, we are really raised, in society to put so much importance on these things, and especially like I was a high achieving student, so turning in my homework, and not would be a crisis, right? So it's like any like little thing.
A minus.
Right. So it's like, I feel like I was trained in this way. My brain then reacts like in this, real terrible way to the stupidest things. And I'm like, but then when you look, it's like, well, yeah, I thought I was like the worst person if I didn't, do this stupid little thing. And so it's like unlearning all that. This is the whole thing.
And I still have dreams that I haven't been to math class in like 6 months. And I'm like going to talk to the teacher to see if I can actually get caught up so I don't fail the class. You still have that dream. I still have that dream. It's been a while. I'll say it's been a while. Those are the two recurring dreams that I have on a somewhat regular basis. One is I've not been to school for 6 months. And then the other one is that I work at my old job at the cruise line. Like I could wake up in a burning house fire from a dream and be like, oh, thank God I don't work there.
Yeah, those things are big. I used to dream about work a lot, and I was at work and solving problems like and then I'd wake up exhausted because my brain was like working all night. And I'm like, that's not fair.
I know.
I don't get paid for that.
Yeah, right. Can I put in my hours?
But those things are deep, they're embedded,
Yeah, totally. So I guess for me, the takeaway today is definitely about honoring your self-value and being able to use the right joy, I guess you say. You use the right gratitude. I don't know.
Feel into, more about your energetic vibration and the opening of your heart versus the focus on the external object.
Right.
Yeah.
You do better with words than I do.
Take a deep breath and remember who you
All right, so we're taking a week off next week. We won't be doing this, but we'll be back the week after, most likely. RadicalLifeCoach.com for Stacey Steinmiller if you want to have some transformative coaching. I highly recommend. And speaking of transformative, come to Rockbox. We have a couple of studios here that are awesome. You can do live streams, you can do podcasts, you can do content creation videos, anything you want to do. We got it. So rockvox.com for that website. And we'll catch you next time on Positively Powerful.
You know. Now you know. Take a big step away from home.